Yes, good morning and welcome to VOW Breakfast. Yes, sizzling breakfast. Today, Tuesday, the 4th of March, 2025. Well, it's great to be here with you. I pray everything is going really well with you as well. Yeah, we're in for an exciting time. And I want to encourage you, please. There's a lot of materials we share here, others cannot share. So you need to be well informed, which is why I want to encourage you to click on the like button, share with as many friends as possible. Tell them to come on board. We're on Facebook, on YouTube, and also on Rumble. And very soon, I'm going to be sharing some heavy stuff, which I can't even share on Facebook or YouTube, but you're going to have to register on Rumble, because on Rumble, that's where the real meat and bone, would be. So please, share and, subscribe, click on the notification button, and just keep on liking. God bless you. Already we got some gentlemen on board. We got Brother John Ludlam on board, and Thomas Rogers. God bless you both as we start the broadcast this morning. I am excited, and I know God is going to do great things. As you can see, the studio is taking shape. God has been faithful, and I want to thank God for the lives of those of you that God has touched their hearts, and they've been able to actually donate something, send some money forward for us to buy fresh equipment. And some of you, I feel like mentioning your name, but I don't. I think you really want to keep it quiet. Like there's a man of God, he gave towards getting this green screen behind us with the poles that support it to make sure the broadcast looks good, and it's going to get better from now on. The lady of the manor sends greetings all the way from London. She's there doing, service, looking after the new royal that's just arrived, and she sends greetings, and she's looking forward to being back on the set very soon. She's excited about what God is doing, and she says thank you to all of you. God bless you richly. So, and I pray that every one of you that has been supporting us, financially or spiritually, in every way, God will bless you and bless you abundantly. There's a gentleman I need to mention, Brother Wayne and his wife Wend of Milton Keynes. Wonderful people. They actually prepared an intro for us, which we used yesterday. I don't know if the intro came out today. I need to check with the crew. Did the intro roll out today? Okay, super. So please, thank you so much for the intro. Yes, we'll run with that in the meantime until we're able to do something sharper and better. But we thank God for that. That will do in the meantime. So God bless you richly. In fact, maybe you should have the intro ready so we can play it for people to see what he's done, because he's done his own bit in some little way, which we thank God for. And he told me, if there's anything you want me to remove or to add, let me know so that I can actually tweak it. So I don't want you to tweak it, don't worry, because the young men in-house are doing some heavy stuff. So here's the intro that our brother Wayne and Wend of Milton Keynes sent in. And he's coming on the Twilight Zone very soon because he has some fantastic story to share. Here is that video. thank you to our brother Wayne and his beautiful wife Wen of Milton Keynes for that beautiful intro that they produced. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. It means a lot to us. And I want to thank every one of you, like I've said earlier, the ones who are praying for us, the ones who just share a word of encouragement, and the ones who actually support us financially by going onto our website and clicking on the donate or the give button. Yes, God bless you all. It shall be well with you and your families in the name of Jesus. Yes, let's start the program today with scripture for the day, which is actually from the book of Ecclesiastes. And it's Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verses 1 to 4. And it says, a good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. Better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men, and the living will take it to heart. Sorrow is better than laughter. The word of the Lord. For by a sad countenance the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. Wow. That is the word of the Lord for you today. And I want you all to please, check the word for today out, and we need to hear from you. What did you get out of that? Because the Bible says, iron sharpeneth iron. So please, let's hear from you. You can send your emails to live@vowtv.org or your text messages and WhatsApp messages to the numbers displayed on the screen. And like I said earlier, please share this link with as many friends and family members as possible. We are now here on VOW TV, Voice of Wisdom. Praise the Lord. Let me take the scripture one verse after the other. A good name is better than precious ointment. Yes, a good name is better. Because if you have a good name, wherever you go, you hear people talk well about you, talk about the fact that you're such a wonderful person, you're such a humble person, you're such a godly person, you're a reliable person, you're faithful, good name. And I remember, this is very common, especially amongst the Yoruba tribe, because which I come from in Nigeria. The Yoruba tribe always say that a good name is better. The quote from the scripture: "A good name is better than than expensive jewelry," and really they always make this statement whenever a young man is about to travel, maybe go overseas to go and study, to go and become someone important in life. The elders will sit you down, or your father will sit you down, and he will say to you, remember the son of whom you are. Remember the son of whom you are, which means remember the home you came from. Remember the kind of family you came from. It's not a crooked family. It's not a family whose name has been messed up. And my father used to say to me, he said, look, this name, Balogun, has never entered in prison before. Make sure it doesn't enter into prison under your watch. So that is why the name is to be protected. It is to be protected. You have to be conscious of that. So the Bible is saying here, a good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death is better than the day of one's birth. Can you imagine? Because on the day of birth, like our new baby, everyone is rejoicing. Wow, beautiful baby, giving you kisses. That's the beginning of the journey. Nobody knows how the life of that child will pan out in the future. That's why sometimes when I'm on the streets, I see a mad person. I see someone hooked on drugs. I feel the pain of the family. I feel the pain of the person, because I look back and I always think back. I reason a lot. I say, the day this child was born, everyone was excited. They were dancing, they were drinking. He was christened. And then we were expecting great things for him in the future. Nobody expected this. Nobody expected this. That's why it says here, the day of death is better than the day of one's birth. Because at death, that's when people gather together. Wow, he was such a nice person. He was such a kind person. He was so wonderful. He touched my life this way or that way. He transformed my life. He opened certain doors unto me. He was wonderful. So the day of your death is better than the day of your birth, because that's when people are able to now look back to see what you achieved here on earth. That's the word of the Lord. And verse 2 says, better to go to the house of mourning. Can you imagine? Nobody wants to go to a house of mourning. When I was younger, because I was afraid of dead bodies. If someone dies in a house and they brought the corpse to the house for funeral, I wouldn't go in that house again. That was how serious it was. I wouldn't go in that house again. And in the northern part of Nigeria, where I grew up, the Muslims, when someone dies amongst them, they wrap the body up in a white sheet and they carry him on this wooden stretcher on their heads. And the body is there on top of the stretcher. It's not hidden like in a coffin. And they're walking down the street to the cemetery. And you know what? If they walked on this side of the road with that body, from that day henceforth, I won't walk on that side of the road. That was how serious he was. So what the Bible is saying here, it's better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. Because everybody wants to go to the house where there's feasting taking place. That's why some people get crashed into people's party, because they want to be part of the fun. But the Bible is saying here, no, the house of mourning is better. And in verse 3, then goes now to tell us the reason why. It says it's better to go to the house of mourning than to the house of feasting. For that is the end of all men. Yes, when people die, that's what's going to happen to everybody. That is the end of all men. And the living will take it to heart. So the ones who are still alive, when you arrive at a place of mourning, you have time to reflect. Wow. So this is the end of everybody. So I need to do something about my life. I need to carry out some adjustments. I need to do something. If I'm a wicked person, I need to change my ways. Look at this guy lying there helpless. So that's why I said that is the place where you are able to see real life. He said, for that is the end of all men, and the living will take it to heart. People who are sensible, who are wise, they'll take it to heart and say, wow, this is reality. I got to make adjustments to my life. If you have been procrastinating, you're going to have to change your ways and start doing something immediately. If God has been telling you to go start a project for him, start a work for him somewhere on this planet, it's the time to now say, listen, I got to do it, because time is flying and I don't want to end up like this doing nothing, where you appear in heaven and the Lord says, what did you do with the life I gave to you on earth? And you start saying, I'm sorry. There's no I'm sorry in the spirit realm. It's a fixed realm. So verse 3 now goes to say, sorrow is better than laughter. Oof. But a lot of us, we love to laugh. It's good for the body. But in this scenario, it says sorrow is better than laughter. For by a sad countenance, the heart is made better. The sad countenance, when you sit down to reason, to meditate, that is when you are able to think well. When I was younger, I was very shy. I was a very quiet person. I didn't talk much because I always observed things. I observed. And I discovered that it's only when I grew older that I became, free to talk. I became more outgoing. So I became more bold. And I think maybe because I have soaked in enough all through my youth. But the interesting thing is that my junior brother, the one that comes right after me, when he was younger, he was an extrovert. He was playful. He was rascally. He was everywhere. But now, as we've grown older, he's mellowed. So I think this is the time he is now beginning to meditate on life. So the Bible says, sorrow is better than laughter, for by his sad countenance, the heart is made better. When you sit down to meditate over things going on in your life that you can see around you, that's when your heart is made better. And verse 4 says, the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning. The one who is wise should be in the house of mourning, because that's where you see a dead person. You see people crying. You see what he's left behind. You see the situation on the ground. That is where you learn. He said, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. Heart of fools want to enjoy. They don't care. Oh, it's just today. It doesn't matter. You only live this life once. Okay, don't worry. Let's just have fun. Let's just, Because I remember some young man in those days. Some Ghanaians, a lot of Ghanaians know him. The guy was, even today, he dresses up really sharp. He appears at different parties. Lovely guy. I don't want to mention his name. He was at every party. And he'll be dancing. He'll be shaking. He'll be moving. And he said, man, we're going to boogie like this to the end. We're going to rock like this to the end. So I looked at him in those days. Lovely man, young man, energetic. Guess what? I met him now. He's in his 60s. I said, man, how are things? He says, cool. I said, are you still, rocking or whatsoever? I said, man, the bones are getting tired. He said, the bones are getting tired. It's like some foolish young man in those days. He had his wife who had children for him. And he had concubines outside. And people sat him down to tell him, you can't be doing this. He said, no, one woman is not enough for me. Oh, one woman is not, it's just not. Okay, we left him to his devices. Now he's older. His body has slowed down. Now I can see that one woman is more than enough. Wow, praise the Lord. You know what? Before we start looking at the front pages of the papers, let's just welcome some people on board. We've been receiving comments here. Some comments are coming through, and let me just read one from a brother here. Oops, look at me. I'm messing things up a bit, but don't worry, we'll get there, because my table was changed in order to make it. Oops, look at me. In order to make it more easy to work with. This one is from Brother Matthew Durham. Matthew Durham. He says, good morning, Brother Yemi. Thank you so much, brother. God bless you richly. And our dear brother, Dr. Hugh Alexander Jackman. He says, wow, the page just jumped up because someone sent a new message. He says, nice backdrop. Thank you so much. Man of God, we're learning from you. You're a pioneer. And I just thank God for your life, for your technical abilities. Man, you are fully loaded. And you know what? You are the $1 million man. If I have $1 million today, I'll just bless you, because you are just a heavy man. You're loaded. And really, everyone that knows Dr. Hugh Jackman, I'm going to mention it here today. The man of God is a prophet of the living God. He might not carry the title of a prophet in front of his name, but he is a prophet, because we've experienced the hand of God upon his life. We've experienced decrees that God made through him. The man is real, and is coming on the Twilight Zone soon to talk about those things. Praise the Lord. Then we have a gentleman, John Ludlam, says, good morning, Yemi, and all tuned in this morning. Have a blessed day. Thank you so much for that, woman of God. And then we have a beautiful lady called Val Pearson. Val Pearson says, good afternoon, Yemi, nice background. Thank you so much. God bless you. A lot of you guys have been encouraging us, and through your encouragement, we're able to start upgrading. Another one from our dear sister. She's my daughter, actually. a lady called Carolina Rudnicka Deng. Yes, because she's married to a brother called Brother Bio Deng. Yeah, Brother Bio Deng used to work with us at Revelation TV in those days. And by the grace of God, they're both married and they are living a wonderful life together. And I thank God for their lives. And they're always also on the altar of fire every morning. Praise the Lord. Nice, wow, she says, nice backdrop. Thank you so much, woman of God. God bless you. I really love you guys, and I thank God for your lives. Wow. Praise the Lord. Yes, our dear sister Val Pearson says, sorry, it's actually morning. Sometimes when you wake up in England, you're not even sure whether it's morning or night. But we thank God for that. Don't worry, we thank God for life. Like my wife would say, my daughter, even my grandchildren, they always say, thank God for life. And we thank God for life, really. Brother from Leslie from Germany. Mate, did you, do you, okay, some notification just came on board. KLM wants me to fly with them to somewhere nice and sunny. Well, we can't do that with the work we're doing here now. Did you get any of my messages? Yes, I got your messages. But I've been so busy. Yesterday, I was out on the road all day. So, but you don't worry. Those materials are useful and they're going to be shown, definitely. And I know, you are eager for things to move very fast. But, there are times we have to take it easy. Just take it slowly because we'll surely get there. And our dear Auntie Judith Ezenekwe. Yes, Auntie Judith. Oh, thank God for your life. I was thinking of you last night. Yeah, your Shabbat scriptures are on the way. Last night I was going to do it, but somehow, something happened. I was doing so many things and it was a bit late and I thought I need to catch a few more hours of sleep because yesterday morning I had only about 2.5 hours of sleep. So I'm going to do that today by the grace of God. She says, greetings, Pastor Yemi. God bless you. Watching from Buckinghamshire. Buckinghamshire, oh wow. Loving your green screen and of course the scripture of the day. Thank you so much. God bless you. It is well with you, woman of God. You must be enjoying Buckinghamshire. I just hope the weather is good there because over here it rained a bit yesterday and today, but actually it rains in the mountains where we are. But when you go to the seaside, it's sunny. Because it was raining in the mountains here yesterday. I drove to the seaside and it was sunny. Nice and warm, bright. Because we had some visitors from England. And they were so excited. Because when I drove them through this area, the young man was worried. He said, I came here for sunshine. I said, don't worry. This country is a beautiful country. In the hills here, we need the rain because the whole area is surrounded by farms. And the farms need the water for the apples to grow, the oranges, the lemon, the everything, the organic tomatoes. So I drove them towards the beach. I drove them towards La Cala and Benalmádena. Sunshine everywhere. The young man was happy. He got in his hotel room. He went on the balcony, sat on a chair, and he was just already facing the sun and feeling good. And there was the swimming pool downstairs, and he was excited. So, well, thank God for your lives. Auntie Judith, we thank God for your lives, for your word of encouragement. I need to announce what you did. I know you don't want it to be announced, but God that saw you in the secret, He'll bless you in the open. Guess what? She prepared some pepper soup, so many other soups and stuff for my daughter who just had a baby and my wife who is with her in London. And she sent it by Uber to them from one end of London to another. This woman of God is just surprised me. Yes, I was at Trafalgar Square. After praying on the platform and preaching on the platform, there she was with a bag containing soups and everything. And I had to freeze the soups and everything, and I brought them to Spain. Guess what? My sons descended on the jollof rice and everything. Woman of God, and your puff, superb. My wife has been talking about it. It's on point. Yes, I've got to our brother Bio Deng, the main man himself. Yes, brother Bio Deng, the husband to sister Carolina Rudnicka Deng. He says, God bless you, uncle. We thank God for your life and my family. See you all soon. Yes, we're going to see you soon because your pork chops and shaki with all the accoutrements, like the onions and the tomatoes and the powdered pepper. They're all waiting for you. God bless you. We're going to arrange it because the lady of the manor is coming soon and we're going to have a full house. Thank you so much. You know what? Let's keep hearing from you. What are you sharing with us this morning? Where are you today watching from? Are you watching from South Africa, from Australia, from America? Let's hear from you. God bless you. You can send your emails to live@vowtv.org or your text messages and WhatsApp messages to the numbers displayed on the screen. And at the same time, you can write live directly to us on Facebook, on YouTube. At the moment, we're not on Rumble. We are on Rumble, but we're not live on Rumble because the what do you call it? The internet stuff we have in the house could not, carry everything. So what we're doing is that we have internet guys coming in on Thursday to bring fresh machine that will be dedicated only to these gadgets. God bless you all. Wow. So let's go on to the front pages of the papers, and I'll just take them quickly because things are happening fast out there. And we need to pray as Christians. We're not to be onlookers. We can pray for the destinies of nations to change. You can pray, and God can use your prayer to remove a leader who makes life difficult, who is hindering his final move on this planet. God can bring fresh legs. God can turn things around. And God can bring about revival. Revival is taking place already. And we thank God for that. So the front page of the Daily Mail says, Trump says, I won't put up with Zelensky much longer. Aha! Some of you that were supporting Zelensky, now the temperature is rising. The man hasn't got money. Like President Trump said, you haven't got any card to play. All you do is sit down in that Oval Office humbly. Even if you were insulted, even if you are bullied, be humble. Accept the deal for the sake of your people. Hundreds of thousands have died. Cities destroyed by Russian missiles. And things are getting worse. And instead of humbling yourself to say, listen, let's sit with these Russians and, sort things out. You're busy making a lot of noise. We just need your backing to carry on with this war. You cannot win a war against Russia that is nuclear armed. Common sense. Sit with them and then discuss. I interviewed a man of God from Ukraine some time ago, Pastor Sunday Adelaja. He explained these technicalities. He says, the Donbas region where Russia has taken, that region contains majority Russian-speaking people. So why would you want those people in your midst into the future? Sit down at the table, cut them off, get a guarantee from America and President Trump, like he said, and move forward to develop your country. As the Americans are taking the mineral resources, they're pumping billions into your economy. Common sense. And he behaved like a bushman, like a foolish man. It's like some demon took him over to mess him up completely. Now he's fixed. And the foolish European leaders, who should know better, they were patting him on the back. Well done. You gave it to him. Now they've sat together to discuss foolishness. And guess what? They still say, we need American backing. Can you imagine this? These fools? Instead of telling him the truth, brother, you messed up. When Macron went, he behaved himself. Keir Starmer went, he behaved himself. You should have behaved yourself. So you have to go back, put your tail between your legs, and tell the man, I'm sorry, and I'm ready to sign, because you have no option. Europe cannot defend you, because Europe is being foolish themselves. They haven't been spending money on defense according to the agreement they had with NATO. Now they are now making noise. We've got to get some money together. And the foolish prime minister we have is pumping billions into Ukraine for this battle. He can't look after old people in the country. He can't look after the youth. Even with the army he has at his disposal, he can't stop all these migrants crossing the channel to the UK. And yet he's sending me. You can see that the man is messed up. And I've said it before, I have a feeling, let me hear from you, it might be different from you, that liberals, left-wingers, have mental health problems. That's why the Bible says the ones with their heart on the left, he said they are messed up. They have mental health issues. They shouldn't be in power. If you study the history of Europe, those are the kind of people that are used as spies to spy against their nation because they are not faithful to their nation. They're not patriots. The patriots are the ones that they are now labeling as nationalists. Can you imagine? They label us as right-wing, extreme right-wing, nationalists. Yes, you got to be nationalist. You got to have borders to be able to look after your people. If the border is open, people are moving in and out. How do you know how many people are in your country to provide for them? So let's just move on. Trump said, I'm tired of this nonsense. He said, the Mail says, hope for a Ukraine peace deal are on the brink. After Donald Trump warned he would not put up with President Zelensky much longer. It also says he is unhappy about Europe's insistence the US must provide a backstop to any peace deal. You see, Europe is playing games. They too want resources from Ukraine. And it's like they're saying, well, why should we be close to Ukraine? We're not better benefiting like America is going to benefit. But America is spending billions. $350 billion in this war. You guys have just put peanuts into the equation. And you are making a lot of noise. You want resources. There's no need for any guarantee. Like President Trump said, he's wiser than all of you put together. The only guarantee is the fact that American workers and industry will be on the ground, and there's no Russian president that will be bold enough to attack American citizens on the soil. That's enough. Simple common sense. But these leaders don't have it. And we'll move on to the front page of the Times. It says President Trump has accused European leaders of weakness and threatened to pull the plug on support for Ukraine. If President Trump stops supplying weapons, because according to the news this morning, he said he's going to stop supplying weapons to Ukraine, then you guys are in trouble. Europe is in trouble because these foolish leaders don't have what it takes to carry on with this war. It's very sad. Trump lambasts Europe for showing weakness. And it's true. You gather together around the guy, don't worry, you're okay. And foolish Mr. Starmer, I have the right to say so as a man in the spirit, took him to go and see the king. And the king also, who I think lacks wisdom in this matter, you don't put yourself in that dangerous position. You tell the prime minister, I don't think it's the right thing to do. I don't want to draw myself into this politics. He can swing in any way, and if he swings in a way that doesn't favor us, I'll look foolish. Well, he receives Zelensky. How can Zelensky go and mess up somebody you say you have a special relationship with? Our very close ally. He insulted the man in his office, and you are receiving him with a pat on the back, with a handshake to see the king. And you think Trump is foolish? He's not foolish. He knows what you've done. Oh, my. The Daily Mirror. That one says, MPs from across the political spectrum have backed Keir Starmer in his staunch support for Ukraine. You see, across the political spectrum, the Labour Party and the Conservatives. You see, a lot of those guys are in the pockets of the globalists. They're all playing to the gallery. I think it's time for us to consider a third party, the Reform Party. Because these two parties, they're like the same problem we have in African countries. This one runs for 8 years. He's stolen enough money. He hands over to the other guy for 8 years. That one steals enough money. And the other is rubbing his hands, getting ready to come in 8 years. And in the meantime, people are growing older and poorer and helpless. The same thing is happening here in Europe and America. Labour will do a little bit, hand over to the Conservatives. They do a little bit, hand over. In America too, Democrats, Republicans. But thank God, we have a strong Republican Party now that knows exactly who they are. So, these guys, it says, PM backed Trump in fear said United Kingdom. President says Zelensky doesn't want peace as he blasts Europe. Yes, he blasts Europe because he knew what you guys did. You guys said you're going to have a European, security meeting. And then you brought Trudeau. You brought Trudeau from Canada. What has Trudeau got to do with Europe? He's part of the globalists. President Trump knows exactly what it is. And today, he has activated 25% tariff on Trudeau and Mexico. Let's see who's going to deliver them. They're all in trouble. Let's go on to the front page of the Express. Please, as I'm talking, I need to hear from you. Please send me your, your response to what I'm sharing here. Daily Express says, UK must lead from front to stop Russia menace. PM Starmer warns future of Ukraine is vital for our national security. This man hasn't got a clue what he's talking about. UK must lead from the front. Lead with you to lead us into war? Please, Christians have to wake up. If serious war breaks out, like the Third World War, the way Zelensky is grabbing young people from the streets to take them to the battlefield, they're going to be doing the same thing in Europe. Your children are going to be grabbed. Old enough children, 18 years old, 20, they'll grab them to take them there. And later on, they'll call on Africa, Commonwealth, we need your help. And the Commonwealth soldiers who went to fight, they came back from the Second World War penniless, forgotten. So that means you went to fight some war you don't even know anything about. You're thousands of miles away from the war. So, it says UK must lead from the front, and it's because he's trying to parade himself as a great international statesman. But without God, you're zero. And then on the front page of the Financial Times, it says Europeans move towards seizing $200 billion of euros of frozen Russian assets. Yes. Wow. It says Europeans move towards seizing 200 billion euros of frozen Russian assets. Okay, no problem. Let's see how it plays out. Let's see what Putin will say. All what Putin has to do is shut the pipe of gas and oil into Europe, and then you're all in trouble. You're all in trouble. And then at the bottom there, it says Trump's return helps drive upsurge in Americans applying to be UK citizens. Very funny. Good readers. Let them go because they'll be ashamed, because America is going to prosper in the next 4 years. I have videos here I'm going to be playing later that will help you to understand what it is. Because they don't tell, these liberals, they don't have a clue about economics, about anything, even about international diplomacy. So but don't worry, these ones, they were applying for UK citizens. Here, they haven't seen anything yet. With this man called Starmer in charge, they're in trouble. Anyway, let's go on to the front page of The Guardian. It says U.S. rift with Ukraine grows as Europe seeks ceasefire. It says the rift between Ukraine and the U.S. has deepened. The Guardian says it's after President Trump criticized President Zelensky for saying the end of the war appears very, very far away. Can you imagine? Zelensky said it with his own mouth that the end of the war appeared very, very far away. So if it's very, very far away, that means you're going to be throwing more money into it that you don't even have. You're going to be throwing more missiles into it. And you're going to be throwing more young people into it that will surely die. And those children are people's children. But Mr. Starmer is not sending his children to war. All these silly European leaders are not sending their children to war, but it's someone else's child. But some military guy said, we're not going to fight for this kind of guys. We're not going to fight. No way. Even there was a military guy I saw on YouTube. He said, I won't fight for Keir Starmer. Not me. Because why, when there's an alternative route of bringing about peace, you decide to send more weapons, more money. Complete madness. Then, the Daily Telegraph. That one says, The Telegraph reports Donald Trump has attacked President Zelensky again, suggesting the Ukraine leader won't be around very long if he doesn't end the war soon. According to a video I saw on YouTube this morning, you know what? A member of parliament in Ukraine has called for the impeachment of Zelensky. The trouble has started. Some of you that were defending him, he was bullied. His people know the trouble that he's been causing for them as a result of what he did. But these liberal media guys, they go interview funny guys on the streets who don't have a clue about life, about war, about politics. He was bullied. These people that think emotionally. They've conditioned a lot of people in this current generation to be reasoning emotionally. He was bullied. He was... rubbish. You just wait. When the dust settles, it's Ukraine that's going to lose. America has nothing to lose. Can you imagine? Zelensky sitting in the Oval Office. You don't know what's going to happen to you. President Trump said, no, don't tell us what's going to happen to us. We are fine. We are thousands of miles away from your problem. The man is so foolish. Lack of common sense. So Trump to Zelensky, your time is almost up. And you just got to keep praying. Okay. Then I'm just looking at the other story at the bottom. It says 3 out of 4 people will be overweight or obese by 2050. You know what? I have some visitors from England, and I took them out for a meal yesterday. And the lady ordered a little bit of food. And I was saying, why don't you just relax and eat well? She said, it was affecting her weight. So she's gone through surgery. They've taken out about 3/4 of her stomach. Can you imagine? 3/4 of her stomach. So her stomach can only take this little bit of food. I thought, oh no. I said, you mean you went through that to lose weight? I said, the solution is in the Bible. You shouldn't have gone through that nonsense. All that we have to do is lock you up in a room, give you a Bible, and give you bottles of water, no food. After a few weeks or days, you come out with an A-listed figure. You'll be different. Your stomach will shrink naturally, and then you'll be okay. She was laughing. Anyway, let me hear from you. What do you think? All right. Then on the front page of I think the Metro. No, sorry. Where am I? Because I just done the Daily Telegraph on the front page of the Eye. It says UK hunts new allies to keep Putin at bay. Britain is looking beyond NATO at countries such as Jordan. Can you imagine foolishness? At countries such as Jordan, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia to help enforce a ceasefire in Ukraine. It seems like Keir Starmer is going crazy by the day. These Arab nations will not come near you because they know what President Trump will do to them. This man is ignorant. All these guys who have no weight, no power, they can't even look after themselves against a powerful Iran. Says Jordan, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia. Oh, Lord, have mercy. You know what? Let me hear from you. What do you think? Because it's great to hear from you so that I have an idea what is going through your mind. Yes. Let me read some more emails here. Our brother from Germany, brother Leslie Fisher says, meanwhile, over on Revelation TV, they are right now saying Trump has got it wrong. Well, they are entitled to their own opinion. Trump has got it wrong. Okay. Well, let's just wait and see. Anyway, let's go over to this side. One of my dearest brothers, Pastor Korede Oguntoye, who runs a wonderful church called Supreme Church in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, looking after the poor in the neighborhood, transforming their lives. Just sent a message and it says, nice background. Thank you so much, man of God. God bless you. And Let me check if there's any message that's gone before him. No, and there's another lovely lady, our dear auntie, Sylvia Weaver. So right you are, Yemi. You have them all weighed up. Yeah, and God has them all weighed up. God is what has them all weighed up. They're all in trouble. They said they are godless. They don't do God. With the trouble coming, they will ask for God. Yes, so right you are, Yemi. You have them all weighed up. And our dear brother John Ludlam says, Trump is a peacemaker. The rest are warmongers. Yes, I agree with you. But you know what? But before I start showing you the heavy stuff, maybe I should just show you the heavy stuff. Yes, because I wanted to play something, back close to us here. But because we are still dealing with this issue, which dominates the front pages of the papers, I want to just get us to watch this video. And the video is very important. It says, listen to the hidden truth and stark reality about Ukraine versus Russian war. You know what? This video you're about to see, I couldn't show the entire video. But please, I'm going to move that video later on, the full video, onto Rumble, where I can deal with it properly. In fact, I'll be doing a different production that I'll release on our YouTube page and Facebook, so that you have to be on the lookout. This video is just a taster of what I'm going to share later, and it's telling you about the hidden truth and stark reality about Ukraine, which I've been sharing with you all along. You see, some of us who are old enough to know the history, to understand how things were under the Soviet Union before the Iron Curtain came down. Some of us who knew what agreement was made then and remember them today will be able to identify with this video. But the people who don't know, and the ones who are not born before then or who were born then but they were still young people, we would educate you about why this war is on. And that's what President Trump has been saying. But these liberals don't want to hear this. They rather prefer to hoodwink you and tell you he's a bad person. We, the globalists, are trying to destroy the whole world, where they want to listen to. Here's that video.
Yesterday was the most important day for peace in maybe decades, actually. This war in Ukraine resulted from a very bad idea of the United States taken in 1994. It's a project. The project was a project to expand NATO forever, anywhere. Just keep moving east. Keep moving not only to the first wave, which was the Prime Minister's country, Hungary, Czech Republic, and Slovakia, but then move eastward, closer to the former Soviet Union, into the former Soviet Union, surround Russia in the Black Sea region, go all the way to a little country in the South Caucasus, Georgia. It was mind-boggling. Clinton signed on to that in 1994. It became what we call the deep state project, meaning it didn't really matter who the president was. Each president would come and basically would be informed. NATO's moving eastward, you're part of that process. So Clinton started it in 1994. And as Prime Minister Orban said, he mentioned briefly, in 1990, on February 9th, 1990, in unequivocal, clear as can be terms, the United States had said to President Mikhail Gorbachev, NATO will not move 1 inch eastward. And if you have any doubt about it, all the documents are now online, available. You can scrutinize everything.
Welcome back. That's just a taster. That message is about I think it's about 30 minutes. I'm going to load it on Rumble. It is heavy. You see why they hate Viktor Orban? Viktor Orban, those guys were under communist rule. So they knew the problem. And they knew why things are the way they are now. That war started because, contrary to the agreement signed, that NATO will not move an inch forward into Eastern Europe. NATO broke it. You heard about the deep state agenda. They started with Clinton. They started telling the other presidents, this project has started, so you got to carry it on and on, till the Russian bear got angry. And the Russian bear is mad, and is fighting back, and is destroying everything in his path. And instead of finding a way to calm the bear down and say, listen, okay, some foolish people started the project, and it's brought us to where we are. Let's stop the whole operation here. It won't happen again. Now, let's sign a deal. Let's do this. Okay, most of the guys in your Donbass area, they're your people. Take them. And leave Ukraine alone, but Ukraine will never be NATO. And there will not be weapons stationed in Ukraine. But please, don't touch Ukraine, because if you touch Ukraine, it will become a big problem. That is where President Trump is going. And unfortunately, these wicked people who don't care about people's children that has been slaughtered on the battlefield every day keep pushing more money, and they keep causing more trouble. But God has their number. They have to be really dismantled. They have to be removed from power. And I remember the prophecy that a very good man of God that I love shared last year on one of my programs. In fact, on about 2 or 3 programs. I'm going to bring him back. Prophet Johnson Akifenwa. He said the Lord spoke to him in 2023 that some governments in Europe will fall. Even the United Nations will fall apart. Because United Nations, that's brought in to bring about peace and whatsoever, is now dictating to nations. Is now causing more problem. Because it's been hijacked by the globalists. Remember, the United Nations had a printing press called Lucifer's Trust. Yes, Lucifer, you heard me right. Go and do your research. Lucifer's Trust. But because they knew that Christians will see this and not be happy with it, they changed it to Lucy's Trust. So if you are not discerning, you'll be carried away by this nonsense. These guys don't love you, the Christian. They love Lucifer. They love those bad guys. But just wait. I'm going to play another video that would encourage you, because please, I need to hear from you. Send your messages to me. In this video, the Vice President J.D. Vance, he talked about the meeting in the White House. And really, if you guys go back to watch the whole of that White House situation, you will see that this man called Zelensky didn't come to sign a peace agreement. He was just waiting for President Trump to say, well, let's sign another deal. We collect mineral resources from you to compensate, but we send you more weapons and we back you up. That was what he was looking for, so that all the oligarchs can start stealing the money like they did before. And some of the weapons ended up in the hands of ISIS and Al-Qaeda and all those mad people. So here the Vice President is talking about what really happened. Here it is.
What I noticed is that for the first 25, 30 or so minutes, he tried to sort of bend over backwards to be gracious and kind to Zelensky. Even when Zelensky was kind of needling him, even when Zelensky was saying things that I thought were untrue, the president just tried to be diplomatic, right? I think that's his natural instinct in that situation. And then when it really went off the rails, of course, is when I asked, or you had a Polish journalist who asked a question, the president answered it, and then I answered it, and then something about my answer just really set Zelensky off. So then he came at me,
so you're blaming yourself.
and then I went back at him, right. And what I tried to do originally was actually try to diffuse the situation a little bit, because I'm like, we're having this meeting. Obviously, there are 100 television cameras here. Let's try to have this conversation in private. And then the president, as we kept on going back and forth, I tried again to say, well, maybe we should have this conversation in private. And the president was like, nope, actually, I don't want to have it in private anymore. I want to have this actual conversation in public for the American people to see. And I do think that there was just a certain sense of, there was a lack of respect. There was a certain sense of entitlement. And most importantly, look, we can look past all of that stuff, but the president has set a very clear goal for his administration. He wants the killing to stop. And I think that it's very important that President Zelensky and, of course, President Putin, too, they've both got to come to the negotiating table, and that's ultimately where things broke apart.
entitlement. When Biden was there, he was supplying me with all the weapons, giving me all the monies. Who are you to try and stop it? You shouldn't stop it. Putin has been causing this trouble. You have to condemn him, but come and protect me and keep sending more money and more weapons. That was what he wanted, but he didn't get it, so he lost it completely. So it's not a case of someone bullying him. You see, this current generation, they have this sense of entitlement. I personally have no respect for him because if you do your research, you'll find out that in Ukraine, Christians are being persecuted as we speak. Yes, right now. And life is difficult for a lot of those priests. They can't speak their minds. And this same man is grabbing young people off the streets to go fight on the battlefield. Some of them don't want to go. We have videos where they're struggling with the military. They don't want to get in a truck to go to the battlefield. And yet, he wants to carry on. This was the same guy yesterday. I showed you a video of him as a comedian. That's what happens when you vote a comedian into power. You get a lot of jokes. A comedian, him and his colleague, using their thingy-majok to play the piano. Can you imagine? That one is your president now in Ukraine. And some people are backing him. Oh, yes. Well, you know what? Here's another video of President Obama some time ago talking. But thank God for, reporters that keep these records. President Obama, this video comes out and is there to haunt some Democrats. Obama was talking about this kind of situation and listen to what he has to say. And with what he's saying, compare that to what the Democrats and the liberals and the globalists are saying right now. Here it is.
With respect to Mr. Romney's assertion that Russia is our number one geopolitical foe, the truth of the matter is that America's got a whole lot of challenges. Russia is a regional power that is threatening some of its immediate neighbors, not out of strength, but out of weakness. Ukraine has been a country in which Russia had enormous influence for decades, since the breakup of the Soviet Union. The fact that Russia felt compelled to go in militarily and lay bare these violations of international law indicates less influence, not more. And so my response then continues to be what I believe today, which is Russia's actions are a problem. They don't pose the number one national security threat to the United States.
Really? That was a remarkably tedious Barack Obama, adamantly saying Russia's not the number one national security threat to America. He mocked Mitt Romney for warning that, but not a peep of criticism. Democrats didn't say it was the end of the world when Obama said that. They're not talking about it now. Let's welcome to the show the U.S. Deputy Special Envoy to the Middle East, Morgan Ortagus. Morgan, it's great to have you on again. So they're not talking about Obama here. Why? Russia took Crimea under Obama's watch.
Well, absolutely. He invaded in the Obama presidencies and in the Biden presidency. And of course, Putin did not do that in the Trump presidency. What's the big difference? And President Trump talked about this in his meeting with Zelensky last Friday. He talked about how President Obama gave blankets and words of support, but it was President Trump in his first term who gave anti-tank Javelin missiles to the Ukrainians, who armed them with lethal aid. And then, of course, the Russians did not invade in his presidency. Fast forward, we have the war. And remember, there were several big missteps that President Biden made leading to that war. He said, well, maybe Russia could do a small incursion, sort of giving them the green light. He also took all of the sanctions off the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. And he took many actions that I think led the Russians to think, you know what, this guy is weak and that we're going to be able to invade. One of the biggest ones, of course, was that fateful withdrawal from Afghanistan in which the Taliban took over and left America running out the door, leaving people and equipment behind. That weakness sent a signal to every dictator that they would be able to get away with any plans that they wanted to do, whether it was Russia and Ukraine or whether it was Hamas going after Israel on October 7th, 2023, as we remember. So you'll see a very big difference. This president leads with strength, and he's trying to get the best deal for the American people. And I think that's a crucial difference, is we don't lead with what's best for the Europeans, for the Ukrainians. Instead, it's what is in America's interest, what is best for us. And that was the fundamental miscalculation by President Zelensky on Fridays. He failed to see that President Trump was offering him the best deal of all, a minerals deal that would economically tie our two countries together and give America their own financial interest in the fight.
So a lot of rhetoric, not a lot of action from Democrats. Thank you so much, Morgan Ortagus. We'll have you back on. We're going to stay on this story because it's an important one. Morgan, thank you so much for your insights.
You can see what we've been talking about, which is very sad, that so many people can't even see through what these liberals and the globalists are doing. Can you imagine? When President Trump was in power, he knew the best way to protect Ukraine is to supply them with heavy-duty weapons, which he did in his first term. But when Obama was in power, that was when Putin saw that this black man is weak, and he decided to take Crimea. He took Crimea, nothing happened. And when the elections were rigged and Mr. Biden was brought into power, guess what? Mr. Biden said it, and I remember. I can look for that video and play it. He said maybe, Russia can do some little incursions into Ukraine. Can you imagine? With the statement from his mouth, he gave the wrong signal. And when you make a statement like that, and you departed from Afghanistan in that chaotic way, leaving behind billions of dollars worth of hardware, your soldiers being killed, and there's nothing you've done about it. Putin knew that these guys are weak. They don't have belly for a fight. That's why he pushed forward into Ukraine. And when he entered Ukraine, Ukraine was asking for heavy-duty weapons. Germany said, no, we can't give him yet. He said, well, what about those heavy-duty tanks that we can use? They said, no, we can't do that. Britain too said, we can't really do that yet. All of them were afraid. He said, we don't want to provoke him further. Then finally they said, okay, we will give him those weapons, but don't shoot straight into Russia. Just shoot into the areas they've taken from you. And it was getting hotter. Now they are talking about an EU army. So the money you didn't have before, you will now spend a lot more. That's why you should learn common sense as a person with brains. That even if there's no war, spend enough on your defense to make sure to deter the enemy for a day like this. You thought it's going to be like this forever? They forgot that there came a time in Egypt when there was a different Pharaoh, and that Pharaoh did not know Joseph. You see, that day would always happen on this planet Earth, where there will be a different Pharaoh, and that different Pharaoh would not recognize Joseph, and that Pharaoh would do crazy things. Now they will learn to read their Bible, and from the Bible they'll learn wisdom. So that is that. But we're going back now to the situation where they say, oh, if President Trump uses tariffs, and he says, oh, if he uses tariffs, it's going to have destroyed the American economy, it's going to cause problem. Ignorant people. I have a gentleman who called me a few days ago, and he too was arguing along the same line. I told him, number one, I'm not boasting, but I can tell you, I got distinction in applied economics, in economics and statistics. So with that in my pocket, and my experience of how economics works, tariffs will do wonders for the American economy. But you know what, before I start breaking it down, let me show you the video and let me hear from you. After the video, then we'll now talk further, where I'll explain it in simple, easy to understand language. Here it is.
I'm very happy they've run out of time. The tariffs are in.
Is there any room left for Canada and Mexico to make a deal before midnight? And should we expect those Chinese tariffs, the extra 10%, to take effect
No room
tomorrow?
left for Mexico or for Canada. No, the tariffs, they're all set. They go into effect tomorrow.
Alex, we know Canada and Mexico are understandably unhappy about all this. What's the reaction been in the States? Because imports from those countries are going to cost more. Is there any sort of a backlash to these tariffs?
I do think there is going to be a temporary backlash where, it's going to cost us some money in the short term. But I think in the long term, it's going to be better for our country if we can actually, tax these people correctly, because we've been giving them basically free money, and Mexico needs to play ball. And I don't think they've done enough, and they haven't stepped up to the plate enough and to satisfy Donald Trump. So at this point, I think they're necessary. And yes, we are going to feel the pain. But now you see car manufacturers saying they're going to build cars. They're going to build Hondas in America. So in the end, it will be better for our country, even though it might hurt in the short term.
Well, yeah, this is all about long-term boosting manufacturing in America, boosting investment, and making it an even bigger economic powerhouse.
Now you heard. It is very simple. Simple economics. Right now, American goods are being taxed heavily overseas, which makes them not competitive. Do you see a lot of American cars on the road? No. You see Japanese, you see German, you see Korean, but American cars not on the road. Why? Because they are taxed heavily. So and apart from the fact that those other cars are economical. Yes, we got to be fair. They are economical. Like the fuel consumption is lower, and then you have their parts readily available and things like that. But even with that, if the American cars have not been, taxed or tariffed heavier, they will still be on the market. They'll be competitive. So what's happened now is that where Americans are angry, the president is angry. You put a heavy tariff on our cars, and they don't sell in Europe. And yours are selling in ours because the tariff is lower. So what happens now is that, they said, well, if you put tariffs on those cars, they'll become more expensive for the American consumer. Like they want to help the consumer. That is a lie. Yes, temporarily, they'll become more expensive. Then the American consumer will probably go and buy the American car that will be cheaper than those imported ones. Or pay the tariff and, buy something more expensive. But what's going to happen is that, like you heard from that video, the guys who are producing cars overseas and shipping them in, like Honda and all those guys, they will now come to America and build factories because they know it's a consuming society. They'll build huge factories that would employ thousands, and they'll produce the cars locally. So what's going to happen is that the locally produced Honda will be cheaper than the ones being brought in because the tariff is high on those ones. So on the long run, when the factories are now operating and running, the Americans will see that the cars are cheaper to buy because they are built in America. A simple example. This phone might be $300 in America. Maybe it's from China. If 25% tariff is put on it, it becomes more expensive, $300 plus. But in the meantime, it'll be more expensive for Americans to buy. So they'll probably buy cheaper ones, or buy the same if they have a lot of money, or buy similar ones that are cheaper. So the producers of this phone now, if they now build a factory in America in the short term, what now happens is that the phone now works out cheaper than the ones being brought in because there won't be any tariff on the locally produced phones, and there will be jobs for everybody. So it benefit America. The problem with a lot of these liberals is that they think they don't want to suffer any single pain. Don't change it. Let it keep flowing like that because we don't like pain. No, if you're going to change a system, you go through a bit of pain and then somewhere along the line it will change. And the same thing happened when the Soviet Union collapsed. The old Russian countries, Soviet countries went into pain. The economy was in disarray. They started building new institutions, and gradually they built to the point where now things are beginning to flow. So you have to go through pain, no matter how it is. When you go through change, there'll be a little bit of pain. You can't say because you don't want to experience pain, you're not going to change. And you keep on losing money, and you keep on owing everybody. You can't do that. It's, you won't enjoy it. But so that's what it is about that arrangement. So if anybody tells you that the tariffs are going to hurt the Americans, it's temporal and it's not heavy. They will have options. And goods from China will be more expensive than the locals, and the locals will buy their own goods. It's as simple as that. Now, there's another video here I want to really share. It's number 9. It says, we are going after big pharma and big food to restore American wellness. You see, under this regime in America, they're going after all the bad boys who have caused all the problems, all the health problems. A lot of us, that's why the quote I read from the Bible earlier, he said it's better to go to a place of mourning than a place of rejoicing, because the place of mourning you can reflect. You can reflect and just figure things out. I used to think about these things, the way these big farmers and all these guys work. They allow people, the government will allow all these companies to put things in your food. Throw it there, don't worry, they'll be all right. The problems won't show up now, maybe later in life. So later in life, problems start showing up. So the big farmers now kick in. That's why everybody, they start supplying with drugs, to kill this problem, not even to kill it, to just slow it down. Slow it down. And you're dependent on them. They're making billions. The ones that created the problem through the food in the system, they are making money from that. And the ones who are now giving you the medication, they are making money from them, managing you till you finally die and just make you useless to humanity. That is the problem. And nobody wants to talk about it because these big boys, big pharma and big food, they have money. They have money to take anyone to court and win the case. They can squeeze anyone. Those are the ones who hate Trump with a passion. So now that he's got RFK as his czar for health in America, these guys are not happy. And the man said, I'm going to get them to remove all those things from your food that's killing you, and all those medication that they've been pumping into your body to make things worse, I'm going to stop it. And also the vaccines that they've been pumping into you to kill you, will stop it. Let me tell you, I've got a video. I think I'm going to show that tomorrow. That's going to be part of the topic tomorrow. Apparently, during the COVID lockdown and everything, I was saying consistently on television, I said, why is it that the government is not promoting, normally, when you want to encourage people to live healthy, you have a public broadcast on televisions across. The Prime Minister has the right to call all the media houses. We're going to produce a 3-minute video. Please, all of you should play it at the same time so that everybody's watching. That look, to avoid COVID, do more exercise, take more vitamin D, stay out there in the sun, do whatsoever to protect yourself, drink more water or whatsoever. But there was nothing. Then some doctors came with the idea that ivermectin is working. Hydrochloroquine oxide, that hydrochloroquine is working. But they said no. They shut that area down. They were just saying, go for the jab, go for the jab, go for the jab. Some went and they put it on their status. I took the jab. Now the jab is causing problems. And you know what? Many are messed up. I saw a video that under Dr. Fauci, the American Constitution, I think the laws of the land says, you cannot promote a recently produced vaccination if there are alternative treatment. Which is why they had to suppress the ivermectin of this world, the hydrochloroquine oxide, they suppress it And they were pushing jab because they would say, well, there are no alternatives really. That's why we need to quickly roll this out. Because it was emergency. It's not fully tried and tested. But for it to be pushed in the market, according to the law of the land, you must make sure there are no alternatives. So which is why they don't mention don't mention no, just tell them, go for the jab. And many were deceived into taking the jab. And at that time, I was applying simple common sense. And I was saying, according to research, children from 0 to about 18 or 20 don't die of COVID. So don't jab them, leave them alone. It will come as a cold and it will go. The ones who are likely to die from it, the older ones, then let's focus on them. Let's put them in quarantine and give them the best health treatment. Simple common sense. But because they want to make money, they were jabbing everybody. The young, the old, the whatsoever, come back for booster. And they were just loading them. Now, a lot of the people I know personally who took the jab, they're falling sick regularly. And they don't understand why they're falling sick. They don't understand. They don't understand why. But the ones who didn't take it, they have their God-given natural immunity that kicks in all the time, that hasn't been destroyed by a nano vaccine. We'll come to that later. On this vaccine stuff, you will meet me on Rumble. So if you don't have Rumble, download Rumble and go and subscribe to VOW TV on Rumble. That's where we talk heavy stuff and nobody can gag us. Yes. So it's gonna be really, really wonderful. So let me show you this video about how the American government now is fighting back against Big Pharma and Big Food. Here it is.
For decades, Americans have been getting sicker. More obesity, more diabetes, more neurological disorders, more infertility, more depression. This is not a coincidence. Behind the scenes, big government, big pharma, big food, and big media have distorted the markets for food and drugs. They push policies that make us sad and sick, and then sell us the drugs to manage the symptoms. Think about it. For decades, the FDA and USDA have been telling Americans what to eat. While we've followed their guidelines, we have seen a surge of chronic disease, so-called diseases of civilization. The NIH and CDC claim to protect public health, yet they suppress balanced research and debate on nutrition and medicine. And pharmaceutical companies fund the very agencies that regulate them. During COVID, we saw this machine in overdrive. Gain-of-function research, lockdowns, censorship, and rushed vaccines with no liability. And now, Americans are realizing it's not just the pandemic, it's our entire healthcare system that is flawed, incentivized to treat illness instead of preventing it. That's why the Heritage Foundation is pushing back. We're working to expose the corruption, restore transparency, realign incentives, and empower Americans with real solutions for their health. This isn't about politics. It's about truth, accountability, and reclaiming our future. Parents across the country are waking up because they love their children more than they fear the system. Join us in demanding real solutions. Together, let's restore American wellness.
Welcome back. You see, things are going to change. This was why they fought tooth and nail against President Trump's nominations. They knew that RFK knew what he was talking about. Oh, he's not a doctor. Oh, he doesn't understand anything about medicine. The man has done his research over the years. You don't have to be a doctor. It's just simple common sense. You say, how come, since we started jabbing the babies with different vaccines, that we have all these crazy diseases, autism and everything? So something is wrong somewhere. Let's research into it to find out. No, we don't want to know. Let's just carry on. It's only some of them that react that way. No. If you are left with a baby that's suffering from autism and any other terrible disease, caring for them all, spending all your life caring for them, you feel it more than anyone else. So we need to know. So that's why I thank God for this government of transparency, coming out openly. This is what we're doing. If you have a research, present it. Let's get the result. Don't shut anyone down. That's how America developed to be the strongest nation on this planet Earth. So you know what? Let's keep praying. And you have to be smart as well. Don't just run by what these so-called experts tell you. Especially when you have doctors saying one thing and some other doctors saying the other. Normally, if the thing is effective and good for you, both sides will be together. Say, oh yeah, no problem. But when some are telling you ivermectin is working, hydrochloroquine oxide is working, and this one says, no, forget it, then you know something is wrong somewhere, which is why you do your research and make sure you do the right thing. So thank you so much for that. Well, like I said, if you want to join in the discussion, send your emails to live@vowtv.org or your text messages and WhatsApp messages to the numbers displayed on the screen. God bless you all. I want to remind you, please, if you're enjoying this channel, click on the share button, send the message out to friends that we are here now. I am here now with the lady of the manor. You want to see us regularly, not once a week. We are here now. God bless you. Yes, and I want to show you a video now before we wrap up. And it's about this Jewish American comedian. He goes undercover into the West Bank, which is actually Judea and Samaria, to go and film. Ask the people there what did they think about Hamas. And they didn't know they were talking to a Jewish person. You see the mindset of the average Palestinian. And guess what? There's another video I'm going to be showing you. A Palestinian guy, so a guy he's Palestinian actually, from Jordan, saying that the people in Jordan are Palestinians. So why keep these ones there to terrorize Israel when they can be part of Jordan? Simple common sense, which is what President Trump is trying to do. And some are fighting, oh no, as if, just traced the history of Israel back to biblical times, and you know that whoever is not meant to be there should go back to join their next of kin, which is next door, Palestine, Jordan, and Egypt. So this comedian went round, and you'll be shocked at what he found out. Here it is.
Zach Sage, thanks for joining us on Jerusalem Dateline. You're kind of a wild guy on YouTube and Instagram. Tell us about the videos that you do, and the one I want to know about is the Wild Wild West Bank. Tell us about that.
Yes, I'm definitely a little crazy. I've been running around with a microphone and a camera since I was 13, 14 years old. I was an early YouTube pioneer. It started from running around my high school with a camera and a microphone all the way to West Bank.
Are you supportive of Hamas?
Yes.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Are most Palestinians?
Yeah.
Palestinian people like Hamas.
I'm with the resistance.
Did you see the videos they posted of what they did on October 7th?
Everything.
And you're okay with all that?
With everything they did.
Do you want to live with the Israelis in peace? Or
No. I want one state solution. No Israel.
So no more Israel?
Yes.
Israel wiped off the map?
Palestine فقط.
We should delete Israel.
So you would not be okay with a two-state solution?
Of course not.
I think the shocking thing about that report was just how much pro-Hamas sentiment there was. I think we've sort of accepted it now, but back when I was there over the summer, it was kind of a big mystery. There was really only some surveys that had come out that showed a high support for Hamas in the West Bank, but I was really the first person that was willing to actually sneak in there with the camera crew and go in and get the right footage. I say sneak in because one, Israelis can't go. I'm not Israeli. I'm an American Jew, but I've been told that even if your name sounds Jewish, they really advise you not to enter. Luckily for me, my legal name is Zach Sage Fox, and so that sort of saved the day. I was able to say I was Italian, and I got snuck in with a Muslim film crew. So, and that's the rest is history.
Jews have not been killed or exposed to any struggle or any violence.
Almost every country in the Middle East.
No.
That's true.
Educate yourself.
I just did my first undercover report actually in the UK in London.
Tell us about your undercover work there in UK. What did you find out?
It was really fascinating. The support for Hamas and other terrorist groups was much more out in the open. In Britain, almost no one had their face covered. People were just openly supporting terrorist groups and openly saying awful things about Jews. I caught a 17-year-old girl on camera saying that the Jews should go to hell. I mean, straight up, the Jews should go to hell. You'll see this in the video. 17-year-old girl. And the most mind-blowing part was her family was all right there. You think they would have pulled her away from the camera after. They let me talk to her for another 5 minutes or so. Like even her adult family members didn't think that this was messed up. And it goes to show you that the government in the UK is so lax about this type of hate and this type of clear support for terrorism that people feel emboldened to just talk about it and to support terror.
Yeah, I would agree. So I've been watching some of your videos. How can people find about you? And if they don't know already, how can they find you on YouTube, Instagram, and any other platform?
Yeah, you can follow me at Zach Sage Fox. I'm doing some really awesome content and really in my Borat undercover era. I just went undercover at Jewish Voices for Peace, Cornell Shabbat, to really shed light on what the very small but loud minority of anti-Israel Jews are doing. And I also went undercover at Columbia. That's coming out in the next few weeks. So really some big exposés that I would love for your audience to follow, as well as some of these bigger projects I'm working on too, to really unite the world around and against anti-Semitism.
Well, Zach Sage, great to be with you. Thanks for joining us. Kol hakavod, as they say in Israel, and thanks for all the work you do.
Thank you so much. You too, man. And yeah, peace. Have me on whenever you guys want.
Come back. Well, you can see what a young man does. Can you see what's happening in West Bank, which is actually Judea and Samaria? You heard the people 100% behind Hamas. After what they did on 7th of October, to them it's normal. And at the same time, on the streets of London, you think they're after the Jews only? They're going to come after you once they are successful with the Jews. And that's why as Christians, we need to get involved in politics. We need to be out there. You know, the democracy is a God-given ability for us to be able to choose who leads us. And if you, the Christian, is not there, you're going to get many like Starmers of this world, like the former Prime Minister, all of them coming to just tell you rubbish. We need people of integrity in the parliament. We need people of integrity in the judiciary, in the military, everywhere. And it's only Christians that can do that work faithfully, according to the word of God. So I want to encourage you, get involved. Get in there. Don't let anyone discourage you. There are a lot of people who don't have a full understanding of the full picture. So they just talk from emotion. Oh, we don't need to get involved. You know, it's a corrupt system. No. You've been brought in as a changer, as a history maker. A game changer for God. That's why you're here. It says you are the salt of the earth. You know how you use the salt? You sprinkle it and then it takes over the whole food. So if we are in the food and we're not being sprinkled to have effect, we're in trouble. If your light is not shining to overcome darkness, then what are you there for? So you know what? Thank God for our dear brother. John Ludlam said hydrochloroquine. Yes, it's hydrochloroquine, but the hydrochloroquine oxide. The oxide appears somewhere along the line, somewhere. But anyway, we thank God. Yes, tomorrow we're going to be looking at some more heavy stuff. And I want to encourage you to please keep your dial exactly where it is. And, you know, just click on the share button and make sure you're sharing this station with as many people as possible, because they need to hear what we're sharing here, because it's to give you a clearer view and clearer understanding to the glory of God. So please continue to support us spiritually, prayerfully, in every way, financially as well. I want to thank especially those who have made this thing possible, because the backdrop looks good, and it's because some of you were able to be a blessing to us. God bless you. And I need to remind you that tonight at 9 p.m. UK time, we have the Twilight Zone. And the Twilight Zone, I can't tell you what we're going to be sharing yet, because we're considering several options. But it's going to be good anyway. Whatever it is, it's going to be good. It can only get better from now on. God bless you. Thank you so much for the fellowship. I'll be back your way with VOW Breakfast, sizzling breakfast, spirit-led, spirit-filled, even tomorrow at the same time. Whatever you do, don't touch that dial. We love you from here. And the crew also, they're doing some powerful work, working through the night, waking up early to set up. God bless you all. Yes, our dear brother from Germany says, It's no, it's hydrochloroquine. Yes, it's hydrochloroquine. Yes, I used to have hydrochloroquine when I was younger, as a baby, as a young boy, when I used to have malaria a lot. And with the malaria, with the hydrochloroquine, I normally react to it because I get this bumpy bit I get itchy skin. And thank God for my mom. She would rub some palm oil on my body and things. But we thank God, we didn't die of hydrochloroquine. Hydrochloroquine actually works. It's just that the side effect can be a bit uncomfortable, but you can ignore it. It won't kill you. You'll be all right. So God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. Back your way same time tomorrow. Like I said before, whatever you do, don't touch that dial because it is VOW TV, the place to be. Bye for now.